Yo, what up, man? I had to talk about this album. First off, shout out to Eddie, man. He seen my video I did on Bryson Tiller album. He was like, "Yo, you need to check out this album by Melanie Martinez called Crybaby. It's a great album or whatever." And I remember seeing this album in stores and was like, I didn't know what to think from it. Yo, this shit is dope, man. Like the concept she used was it was crazy. She basically used fairy tales, you know what I mean, from like your childhood, and she just twisted them in a dark, little airy way. You know what I mean? She was also, I found out, a contestant on The Voice, which was a show I never watched. So yeah, it's a concept album narrated by Crybaby, which is, in course, Melissa Martinez. Basically, you get content about broken families, bad romance, and emotional abuse. You know what I mean? But it opens up with the first track, Cry Baby. It's production wise, it's great. Vocals, lyrics, you know what I mean? It's just a song where she just has a don't care attitude, you know what I mean? Just things she go through and just people just look at her and call her a crybaby. I like the third verse, you know what I mean? She flipped it and just was like, screw it, you know what I mean? I'll be a crybaby. Then it gets into Dollhouse. The production is amazing, I definitely enjoyed that. It's just basically about drugs, infidelity inside the house, and letting people know that everybody life, family life, isn't perfect. Going into Sippy Cup, which is like one of my favorite tracks. I just like the line how she said, kids are still depressed when you dress them up. Syrup still syrup in a sippy cup. I was like, that shit crazy. You know what I mean? It just basically, she talked about many topics in this song, drugs, liquor, hiding things, and just from a different perspective. The production was crazy. The lyrics were very vivid. You know what I mean? She didn't hold nothing back. Carousel, basically problems with love, the good, the bad. Got kind of a bouncy type beat. You know what I mean? I love the hooks on this album as well. I'm like, God damn, why I never heard about this chick? Like, this shit is crazy. Great song. Then it gets into Alphabet Boy. It's relationship content. Former song, Heartache. You could take it for what it's worth. It's just basically about a dude thinking he's better than her because, he went to school, got degrees, and basically belittling her. And now look at her, she's a star. She's in the music industry, and she flipped it on him like, now what's up, Alphabet Boy? You know what I mean? Crazy record. Then it gets into track 6, which is Soap. You can take it for what it's worth. It's just like another sad heartache type record, you know what I mean? From things she was dealing with. And if you really listen to the lyrics, you'll actually get the song. I thought that was pretty interesting because, when you was a kid, your grandmother or whoever would be like, yo, you say that again, I'm going to wash your mouth out with soap. You know what I mean? So it's a play off that. Going into Training Wheels, track 7, definitely excellent song about love, you know what I mean? And if you know what training wheels are, you only use them on a bike until you learn how to ride the bike. And it's basically she's using that type of concept about, love, in a sense. And I was like, wow, that's pretty deep, when I sat here. I had to run it back because I'm like, what is she talking about? Because when you first listen to the album, you get it, but then you don't. So you definitely got to do a little research and then go back and listen to it. So I listened to this shit 3 times before I actually, decided to do this review. Then it goes into Pity Party, basically a song about abandonment from all forms, from any angle, however you want to take it. But I definitely like that hook. It's my party, and like, you know what I mean. I thought that shit was dope. Going into track 9, Tag You're It. It's basically a story about how she got abused in a parking lot, and when you listen to it, you won't really catch that until you gotta pay attention to it. You know what I mean? So I listened to the first time sober, and then I smoked the blunt and listened to it, and then that's when the lyrics gravitated towards me, and I was like, oh shit, like this shit is crazy. But you won't get it with the theme she used with the album. But going on to track 10, Milk and Cookies, basically about rebellion and triumph. She basically got revenge on her attacker, and I thought that was awesome. I was like, oh shit, wow, this shit is crazy. Like, it's definitely a good record. Going to track 11, Pacifier. She just basically feeling empty emotionally. You know what I mean? I definitely love the hook on the record. The lyrics, they definitely stand out. But I mean, I think a lot of people can kind of relate to that. Going into track 12, Miss Potato Head. Now, this is something that I always stated, sometime even on Instagram when I make, posts about certain women. It's basically about women wanting plastic surgery to feel beautiful. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, just because you do that and you change yourself, that doesn't mean you're still going to be classified as beautiful. Like, women don't think they're beautiful if they don't have big breasts or, a full set of lips, a fat ass. And Miss Potato Head is definitely a good record for women, young ladies out there. Y'all need to check that out. And the last track, Mad Hatter, is basically about, optimism. You know what the word means, so you get what she's saying in the song. And I thought that was a kind of a great way to, close the album. Overall, I will not say this is a bad album. You know what I mean? If you take it for what it's worth, as a concept album, you could play it all the way through. I know I did. It's not really no songs on there that I would say, me personally, I would skip. Definitely something different. Another great album, that I've heard this year from a genre that I probably really would have looked over. This album and Meg Myers' album is another incredible body of work. You click through that full all the way through. So it's not about artists you don't really know, like her. You probably don't know her. You probably don't even listen to her music. But just looking at the album artwork is just totally different from what most people probably look and see as cool music. But I think eventually I probably would have got around to it because I've seen this in stores but didn't really know what it's about. And the dope thing is, if you buy the physical copy, it's like a storybook, the way she constructed it for the songs, and it tells the story of each song title. So I'm definitely got to look for that. I'm hoping I can find the actual one that she was talking about. But yeah, I went and follow her on Twitter and Instagram and everything. But this album is dope, man. All the way through. My favorite tracks will be track 3, track 12, track 2, track 7, and track 9. Definitely a good album, man. Shout out to Eddie, you know what I mean? You put me on to another good body of work. Something else I can add to the collection to diversify my collection. But you don't gotta take it from me. If you listen to the album, let me know what you think about it. If you haven't heard it, just give it a listen. I think this is something different. You know what I mean? It's better than what's out there, the normal shit, the regular rap we listen to, regular pop music, rock music. It's different. You know what I mean? This and Coldplay album is pretty cool. But other than that, just wanted to put my take on it. Shout out to Eddie. Thank you, you know what I mean, for actually putting me on to another dope album. And yeah, we're almost running out of time, y'all. One.